We'll start first with Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Tyrann, as you face the Browns, a lot of what they like to do is to run the play action and sort of make the runs look like the passes and vice versa. How important, when you're facing that, does communication between the multiple levels become for y'all?
Yeah, it's extremely important. I think, any team you playing, in this league, it's extremely important to, communicate before the snap and after the snap. I'll probably add one more thing. I think it's going to come down to discipline as well. They're going to do some of the same things, but they're going to do it different ways. One may be a run, one may be a pass. So, but it's going to look the same, and we're going to have to be very, very disciplined, in our assignments.
Let's go next to Sam Mellinger. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Tyrann.
Hey.
Brad, I'm going to have a real quick follow if I can. Tyrann, I'm curious from your point of view. You were a great player before you got here. I understand that, but it seems like your play has gone to a different level. Is there something, what is it about what you walked into? What is it about what's provided here that has maybe brought out, even another level than what you had before?
Yeah, I mean, I got to really, give my coaches a lot of credit. I've had a lot of great coaches, over my career, even going back to high school. I think sometimes, guys can, not coach people like me because they assume that I know it all and they assume that I'm always prepared. I think when I came here, just the instructions I've been given, the teachers I have, Spags, Coach Merritt, I'm constantly, being taught something new, every day. So for me, my passion for the game is like growing, I love to be around my teammates. I love to be involved, with the schemes and stuff. But I got to give a lot of that credit to my coaches, for the way that they're teaching me, going forward.
Okay. And then the other thing is kind of just in the opposite direction, right? Like, do you have a sense, I've heard this from people in the building, do you have a sense that your specific strengths, what you do well, what you're valuable for is exactly what this team needed when you walked in the door, that they've sort of responded, the same way and you've brought out their best?
Yeah, I mean, I like to look at it like that. I think this team was already great, before I got here. They had a bunch of wins, a bunch of division titles. For me, what I try to come here and do is just, work every day. Every practice means something to me. Every rep is like personal. I'm trying to get better. I think that's really my intent, is to always get better.
Let's go next to Therese Paylor. Go ahead, Therese.
Hey, Tyrann, how you doing?
Hey, doing good.
Hey, man, quick question for you. And Brad, I got a quick follow-up to it. There's a lot going on in the world, and people are trying really hard to find common ground to accomplish big goals. And I think a great example of that's in the NFL and actually you guys, right? So my question for you is, how do you and the other captains maintain a healthy locker room amid trying times when, like not everybody's going to agree politically on stuff happening? Like, what are some of the steps and things you guys do as captains to make sure you don't let the stuff going on in the world get in the way of your common goal, which is repeating?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys, well, most of us in the locker room, we all appreciate each other. So, approaching us or, having hard conversations, it's not really difficult for us. I think we got a team that's really focused on football and focused on winning. I feel like some of the other conversations we've had, it's been fairly easy. I think in our mind, we understand, who we are and what we represent. And it's all about us, showing that bond, showing that commitment, to one another. But it's an open floor, all of us respect each other, appreciate each other. And I think, that's the start. That's how you continue to grow.
Gotcha. And Spag says you guys spent some time every day kind of this summer talking about social issues. What were those discussions like for you? How long did they last? And lastly, how good was it to kind of get those feelings out? Is that a big part of this? Just getting out what you have to say, so in having that heard.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Spags did a great job. I think for one, all of us are men. I think at the end of the day, we all want to be accepted. And we all want to be heard. And I think just having Spags, open the floor and, if you've been around Spags, he's all ball, he's all about the next practice and the next rep. And so for him to kind of take time out of, what he really want to do, which is teach, I think that says a lot about him, a lot about our assistant coaches. All those guys were involved in the conversations. And for us, it made us feel so great, to have that conversation, for our D coordinator to kind of open the floor. I truly believe we all felt like we were in the right place, at the right time.
Let's go next to Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Harold.
Hey, Tyrann. Hope you're doing well, man.
Hey, doing good.
Two quick questions. First, when it comes on the field, you guys had success with stopping Derrick Henry, holding him to 69, well below his average in the AFC Championship game. You seem to have this success when top running backs you guys face. What is it about you guys as a defense when you face top running backs and just that extra motivation, that extra gear that it gives you to go? And then I'll have the second question after.
Yeah, I think, really it's just a commitment, to each other. Obviously, it's a big challenge, and I think anytime, really over the last couple of years, last 2 years, I think every time our defense has been challenged or had to step up to a challenge, I always feel like my guys, are ready and prepared. A lot of that has to do with the coaches. A lot of that has to do with individuals, taking it upon themselves to kind of stay committed and stay disciplined. But, I like my guys. We always rise, to the challenge.
And then the other question, you tweeted about Eric Bieniemy and how you said he brings out the best in people and he even inspires you. Could you just elaborate into how, a guy like him brings out the best in the players and inspires you individually?
Yeah, I think all great players, all good players, they want to be coached. They want to be coached hard and they want to be coached the right way. And I think the last part of it, they want to be coached by somebody that they know, will have their back. And I think Coach Bieniemy really embodies that. Even as a defensive player, to see him get on Tyreek and get on Kelsey and push those guys to the next level, even though those guys have reached, great heights. I think that says a lot about him as a coach, as a motivator. And like I said in my tweet, I'm inspired by him. Me and him, share some of the same background, being from, Louisiana, and, we have some of the same, friends in a sense. And so I always want the best for him, but, he's definitely one of those guys I feel like definitely deserving.
We've got time for two more. We'll go Herbie and then Vahe. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Tyrann. Just to follow up, a quick follow-up to Pete Sweeney's earlier question where you mentioned that defending against the Browns play action, but specific to their backfield with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, what is the unique challenge preparing to face these two running backs?
I mean, it's like a double-headed monster. When one checks out the game, another one comes in. Both of those guys are elite. I think in their own way. Obviously, Kareem, he can do a lot. Things out the backfield. They motion him out a lot in empty sets, trying to find a matchup. And Nick Chubb's he reminds me of those old school runners. You know what I mean? Big, stocky, low to the ground, tough to tackle. So, and then both of those guys are good in the pass game, and they use them in the same way. So it can kind of get tricky, when you're watching film. But I'll describe him as a two-headed monster.
Let's go last to Vahe Gregorian. Good, Vahe.
Hey, Tyrann. Obviously, it's a great challenge to try to repeat, and you dealt with that pretty well during the regular season, of course. But I wonder at this stage what the difference is between thinking you can do it and knowing you've done it, and how that might be part of your mojo right now.
Well, I think it's all the same, especially for me. It's all about the work you put in, during the week. It's all about how attentive you are in meetings. Are you listening to your coach when he's giving these little nuggets? And, can you take all the information to the field? And can you do it at a high level? I think that's really what it's all about.